I fear no man. I fear no beard. Mostly because I was one for several gay men in college. And as for you, Jersey Devil, oh, I'm gonna send you back to the Pine Barrens. When I'm done with you, you're gonna be nothing but broken spine barons. In London, the last time you were invaded was in 1066. But Mama's coming home to the British Isles. You're no longer gonna be Great Britain. You're gonna be something like Britain. That's right. And I'm gonna spell the River Thames the way I want to. T-I-M. None of this hidden H bull. I hope you kept your receipts. Cause you're gonna wanna return your monostat. You're gonna wanna return your Lotrimin. Tenactin won't be tough acting. Because the temper and fury of the beast infection will infuse in your soul.
Well, we are back. And we are here to talk about the two newest episodes of Twisted Metal. And as always, I am joined by my fellow Twisted Metal loving friend, Shane O'Hare.
Greeted by. Good morning, everyone.
Hey. Shane, we got two more episodes.
Stop motion animation. Sorry. Off to a great start. I don't know what's wrong with my internet on this side of the planet, so...
It's all good. It's in Alaska. Things happen.
Yeah.
Shane, how are you feeling about these two episodes?
I was really, really stoked going into them. That the end of episode 5, like they're all the racers were driving down towards Calypso's town, and there was explosions and there was guns and it was great and there was tension and people were dying. And then this episode started, and it started off with a bang, and it started off with a moment that I would say was like forced emotional tugging. And then it fell off a cliff, and this episode sucked, and I think it was probably the weakest one of the whole series so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run down the quick plot description as provided by our good friends at Wikipedia. So the episode starts with a flashback of John Doe, where he's having a moment with Calypso without realizing it's Calypso. And then we jump to where the last episode left off, and it's the qualifying round. Roadkill rescues Mayhem by fending off Spectre and Mr. Grimm with the assistance of Dollface. Quiet kills the junkyard dog before he unleashes a special weapon on Roadkill and Mayhem. And Mr. Grimm shoots Dollface, causing her to lose focus. The Knights of Nebraska pierce Dollface in the stomach, and she sacrifices herself to be killed in an airstrike along with the Knights of Nebraska. The remaining contestants are taken to a high school where they are given orientation, medical checkup, and accommodations. At this point, Calypso warns Raven, who is first to finish the race, not to mess with his tournament. There's clearly some familiarity between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
John and Quiet contemplate Dollface's death, and then later each contestant are asked what their wish would be, and that there would only be one wish per car. Quiet wishes for the walls to come down on all the fortified cities, while John just wishes to bring Dollface back. So there's a little bit of conflict there. I agree with you. This one's pretty weak. Even don't get me wrong, I love Harvey Danger, but Harvey Danger, Flagpole Sitta, kind of one of the weaker needle drops this season.
Yeah.
Like, even just in the context of the scene, it's like a high school montage. It's kind of a little weak.
Yeah.
There are a couple moments that I liked. There's at least two quotes that I wrote down. There's that the group that's leader is a child, where they finish the qualifying race and then they say, we're just going to drive around a little bit because our leader just went down for nappies.
Yeah,
that was a really good line. And Sweet Tooth, I think, got a good line where during orientation, they're asking for a sperm sample. And he holds it and goes, small cup, might as well duck and cover because you're about to be in the splash zone.
yeah. And then when he handed the sample over to the doctor, it was like dark green.
Yeah, it's real gross. And I'm curious what you think, but I like that Calypso is like kind of lame and disrespected for the most part. Like he's definitely under. People don't realize how much of a threat he truly can be, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's actually I liked the flashback at the beginning when you saw John driving the Subaru. I was like, oh, okay, so this is a flashback. And meeting Calypso, and he's obviously like he's presenting him with these beverages, like bottled beverages, and he's like pulling them infinitely out of his bag and giving them to John. So it's obviously there's like some, they're really leaning into the magic. And there was this when he's talking to Raven in the hallway of the school, and his eyes like get all like total like bloodshot and black. I like that the show is leaning into the fantastical because. I said this last week, but season 1 was fairly grounded on things. Like they explained away Sweet Tooth's flaming hair with just lighter fluid.
Yeah.
But now they were getting into the magic and the weird shit. I think that's really cool. I think that's actually a really interesting thing for like I think they played it safe on season 1. And season 2, they're like, okay, we made our money. We're gonna have fun and like really dive into it. But people definitely don't know what they're in for with Calypso. My biggest complaint for this episode, well, I got 2, I guess. The momentum,
like nothing happens after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like the momentum from the end of the episode prior was just. Let's go. And then it starts like, let's go. And then it's like, we're in high school and we're talking and we're having emotions. And I'm like, bro, they lost all the momentum for this episode. I really think the part where Krista, that made no point for them to use the EMP and Krista to die. And her dying at the beginning of the episode felt really forced. And they were like this close-up moment of her face after she got hurt. And she's like, win, or some like cliche throwaway line. And I was like, first of all, for me, she's my least liked character. I don't know. I found her unappealing. I like Quiet and Mayhem more in the group. So I was like, why are they killing her? Like, there's no, like they haven't even started the tournament and she's already sacrificing herself for the cause. But I think it's when they do the wish, it gives. I think it was an easy narrative route to give John and Quiet some conflict. What do you think?
No, I agree with that. Totally. I think that's the biggest thing there. I do like that they're building that conflict, but this is definitely, I agree with you. I think this is the weakest episode of the season so far. And I think it's just like, it's not even like you and I are people who don't care about story, but it felt like because the first 5 episodes are very like go. And the next episode, to its benefit, is also pretty go.
Yes.
It's more of a pacing amongst the other episodes where if the information from this episode was like slightly more evenly distributed across the episodes prior or after, it wouldn't be so blatantly laggy. But like, yeah. But because it's just like, all right, we're going to just slam on the brakes now for 20 minutes and just like develop all these stories that we've kind of been ignoring so that we can build up the conflict for the second half of the season. It did just feel like, all right, that was something, you know what I mean? Like it was, and it's still like, it's not like it was complete dog shit. Like we said, there were funny lines. There was like a couple good moments here and there. Like you said, the flashback is really good. Like there's good stuff in it. But I think especially releasing this one and the next episode, which is like, I think the next episode is the closest we've ever gotten to really capturing the energy of playing a Twisted Metal level.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. I loved the next step. I actually, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you, since you do this kind of stuff more than I do you think this show would have been better paced if it was in hour blocks instead of half-hour episodes?
I don't know. Because I think if it was in hour blocks, I think it would go from a 12 episode season to a 6 episode season real quickly. I don't think there's enough meat on the bones to justify 12 straight hours of every season. So I think it's more of a, hey, we'd rather have a slightly higher episode count that's a little bit more bite size than like a 6-part miniseries, but it's like super dense hours. I'm curious to see, and we talked about this a little bit last week. I'm curious to see if we even get to the end of the tournament this season. You know what I mean? Like, because there wasn't a whole, like, I mean, I guess that's not true. So we get into the first round of the tournament in episode 7. And here's the little plot breakdown. Contestants are tasked to retrieve a collectible ticket that allows them to cross safely into the finish line. Grieving the loss of his sister and contemplating the wish that he made but kept from Quiet, John is very out of focus. Quiet notices John's erratic behavior, prompting her to become Roadkill's driver throughout the first round. Roadkill was given a 1-minute head start, and still they are last to cross the finish line. Mayhem kills Chucky and steals his car Spectre, which is fitted with an AI. The Holy Men are also killed, and their baby that they believed was the reincarnation of the preacher still survives and is taken by Calypso to be under his care. John and Quiet complete the first round, and then John confesses to Quiet that he made his own wish. So we do lose a couple people here, right? Like Spectre is now gone. I almost wonder if every episode Mayhem drives a different car. I would love for every round of the tournament to be that Mayhem steals a new car from somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the Holy Men are gone. I feel like we've done all that we could really do with them. I'm sure that child will become a bigger factor later on. Maybe if they do a season 3, I don't think there's much more we could do with that. But my biggest laugh in this episode is from that child where the Holy Men look in the back seat and they're like, leader, what should we do? And the baby just goes, kill them.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that is I really like that moment because I'm like, oh, these aren't just like some fucking crazy sex weirdos that live out in the woods. That think this child is a reincarnation. No, the kid is talking, and like at one point, the thing that I really liked about this episode is that it was funny, and it was like there was a lot of like really cheesy humor to it. Like when everyone drives up to the first pass, and they get out of their car and they walk in, and it's on an ice rink, and like all the different groups are in the ice rink and they're ready to get the pass, and they're like, all right, we're gonna fight for this ticket, and they all start slipping on the ice rink. And it was goofy, and it was played really, really goofy, and I really liked that. And
well, and also because it's like there's the juxtaposition of that goofiness with, I mean, certified banger of the episode, Outkast's "Bombs Over Baghdad," which is a great song to accompany what's happening. Yeah,
which I felt like their music choices are great.
They really I mean, I poo-pooed Harvey Danger earlier, but that's still an incredible song. It's just a weak song in comparison to how many good songs they have used in this season.
Yeah, but that ice rink scene in particular was like the Holy Men push the baby in the car seat up to the pass, and the baby has a gun and shoots Stu, and then the recoil from the gun shoots the baby across the ice rink. And I'm like, this is some wacky, like, pants on head goof. And I'm really happy that they're. I like the show. The show's great. The people writing it and coming up with these moments are phenomenal. And like, there's all these moments like with Sweet Tooth and Stu that are just genuinely funny. Like at one point, Sweet Tooth makes a reference to Admiral Horatio Nelson, who that is. My dad was watching it with me. He's like, did he just reference Horatio Nelson? I'm like, who's that? And my dad told me all about this British naval admiral, and started telling me like, yeah, he died at the Battle of Trafalgar. And I'm like, that's such a turbo nerd 1805 reference that had no point being in this show, but like my dad laughed his ass off on it and told me all about it. So the people writing this show are smart.
It is, and it's nice to have those jokes that are in there that are like for a very specific audience member watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's usually a sign of, like you said, really smart writing. For me, like one of the moments where I just was like, fuck yes, while watching this is early on in this first round. I want to say it's Mayhem driving Spectre's car when out of nowhere, Axel just comes flying around the corner. And it's like, it's almost exactly a shot of the show. Like he's running over chain link fences with his giant tires and fire.
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is it. This, like that was like me legitimately having flashbacks to like playing Twisted Metal 2 in a friend's house at a sleepover. Like I was like, this is so perfect in a way that, like, you know, you and I have talked about this before. There was such a long period from the early 90s until like the 2010s where like video game adaptations were just unbelievable misinformed dog shit.
Yeah,
but like
we had
this is like part of a long line of the last couple of years where like they're actually bringing in people who passionately understand why those games work. It's not like just taking a G.I. Joe script and be like, can we retrofit the Street Fighter characters into this? Like, which is legitimately what happened. That is what
yeah.
And you watch it with that lens and you're like, oh yeah, this is obviously a script for a G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, no, that is one of those bits of trivia that are gigantic in the gaming universe, which we'll talk about all that stuff later on another episode, another recap. But I liked when Mayhem killed Chucky, and she took his Audi, and it had the AI in it, and it basically drove for her. And it was funny that the car is called Quattro, and that's like if you check us out on Instagram, I made also here on YouTube, I made a short that was like a funny video where I was interviewing the car at Comic-Con, and I called it an Audi TT Quattro, but that's the character's name in the show. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I'm like,
it's amazing. It's absolutely like home run amazing. I wish that there was more to say about this episode, because this episode is dramatically better than the episode that comes before it.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's just go with some quick speculation on what we think. There's only going to be 2 more weeks of Twisted Metal, right? We've got next week where we're going to get episodes 8 and 9. And then the following week, we get the final 3 episodes. So I guess the question for you is like, do you think we see the end of the tournament? And like, if so, how do they justify? I'm glad that we saw some cars get killed and characters die, but honestly, like, Dollface is the only one that had enough of a character beat that I cared about it. Like,
Yeah.
I think that we're looking at a situation where how do you wrap up this tournament and still have Sweet Tooth, Mayhem, possibly Mayhem, John and Quiet alive for the end of it? Because like those are your tent pole characters on this show. They are the characters that people care about, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen in these last like 5 episodes?
That's a very difficult question to me because I'm every episode of this show I've been surprised at where they're going, and I really like where they go. I have a feeling that I feel I feel Dollface's death was like it didn't make sense. It was like she sacrificed herself at the before the tournament started, and there was like the whole scene of like the knights getting out of their car and like walking up to her there, like so she could kill them. I felt like it didn't make sense from like a tactical standpoint, and a narrative standpoint. I think at some point she's gonna come back. I think they're gonna give everyone a wish early, or there's gonna be some way because they're carrying her mask around, and I think she's gonna come back early, and that's gonna cause like even more conflict between John and Quiet. I'm really, really curious to see where Sweet Tooth and Grimm's conflict go. And I really want to see more of Grimm and like his, now that the show is like really like 100% confirmed that like with Calypso being able to teleport and like summon drinks out of his bag and his red demon eyes, and then the talking baby that's obviously the reincarnation of the Holy Men leader. I think I really want to see Grimm's dark magic and like his actualness, his actual lore come out. So I really hope that that's the case. But I know this is kind of a cop-out answer, but I have no idea where they could go with this show.
I that's part of the fun about it though, is like I want to see where it goes. I'm looking at the Wikipedia. These are the only names that are listed as main characters: John Doe, Quiet, Sweet Tooth, and Calypso. So I don't know if that's a hint to us of anything.
Okay.
I could see the final episode being that the tournament concludes with just Sweet Tooth versus Roadkill for the final matchup. But then like, what do you do the whole third season of just those two cards? like I feel like you need to build to some type of satisfactory conclusion. I'm hoping that we keep the momentum. I'm hoping that we don't get 2 episodes next week that are just backstory until the next round of the tournament, and that they stretch out this tournament for like 3 seasons. Like that would be the
awful.
Worst route they could possibly take. I'm fine if we get a filler episode for episode 8 and then another episode like this for episode 9. You know what I mean? Like it can't all be tournament rounds. That would also be like exhausting to a certain point, but like I hope that it's paced well is all I'm saying.
You know, there's a non-zero chance because there's conflict with Stu and Mike and Mike's new friend who's like the super like the
most positive dude on the planet.
Yeah. there is a narrative path where Sweet Tooth dies and Stu becomes Sweet Tooth. Something happens. Something happens that breaks Sweet Tooth, or it breaks Stu. Like he gets betrayed by the John Cena body double guy or Mike, or something terrible happens and he loses his mind and takes up the Sweet Tooth mantle. That is, I could see that because there is conflict between Sweet Tooth and Stu. Like Stu sabotages Sweet Tooth's chance to kill Grimm but then Sweet Tooth threatens to kill him, but says like, "Hey, but that was chaotic." So I really liked that. So I could see Stu becoming more prominent.
I feel like if they do that, which I'm not against this idea. I feel like if they do that though, they still need like Will Arnett and Samoa Joe riding shotgun, even if it's just in his broken mind's like version of a conscience, like that Sweet Tooth is like egging him on in season 3, because like Will Arnett's voice is just so perfect for that.
It's
character.
really good. It's
like,
really good. Yeah, he does a really good job, and Samoa Joe's like emoting, like being able to emote through a mask with one eye,
insane.
like stellar acting, which I think, you know, you say what you want about. I think wrestling's badass, but wrestlers know how to act. They know how to act.
They really truly do, and Samoa Joe's proving it the same way that Batista has already proved it, and John Cena. Like, if you give them the right material, it's very interesting to me because I feel like for a long time, The Rock was like the go-to person to be like, see, you can be a wrestler and an incredible actor. But now, like John Cena and Batista, and I'm going to throw Samoa Joe in there now with this show, are actually playing against type so much that like people are retroactively looking at The Rock and being like, oh, The Rock has literally just been playing The Rock, but like as a movie star and like skating by for the last 25 years. But it's like John Cena can play the biggest dork on the planet in a movie and crush. Like,
What's that movie where John Cena is the drug dealer?
Oh my god. The comedy, is that a Trainwreck? Is that where he's like
maybe
the shitty ex-boyfriend and he's like all tatted up and like a douche? Like,
yeah, and he like is in the hotel room with like, okay, I got these drugs and those drugs. Like
even him in Blockers. If you ever saw the movie Blockers, where he's trying to keep his daughter from losing her virginity at prom night, and he's like the lamest dad. Like he's a stay-at-home dad, and he plays it so great. And they like basically write off his muscles with it being just like, well, when my baby's at school, I got nothing to do, so I just pump iron until she comes home from school. Like it's like he's so good. It's so good. And yes, Mojo is crushing it here. I really hope that this is like a gateway for more acting roles, because he's also, I mean, he's got like almost 20 years under his belt of wrestling. Your body can't do much longer.
Yeah.
Like it's time for him to have an exit strategy, and I hope that Twisted Metal provides a little
something
bit of a pathway.
And you can tell he's having fun with it.
Oh yeah, because he is animated. There's another world where you hire a stunt guy who is fucking lifeless with Will Arnett's voiceover on top of it. Like,
I think also because in the I think it's Twisted Metal 4 is the one where Sweet Tooth is running the tournament, and his assistant Melvin. There's a chance that Stu becomes Melvin, or like Melvin is introduced. He was like another crazy clown.
All right.
So I think I now that I'm like chewing on it and looking where things are going, I think there's gonna be. I think Stu's gonna I hope something surprising comes from Stu.
Yeah. I don't want Stu to go. I have no problem if Mike and his perfect friend die, but I don't want Stu to die.
Yeah, and you know, wasn't Mike's perfect friend like a cannibal at one point?
Yeah, he was converted by how great of a guy Mike was.
I wonder if he's truly converted.
Ooh, that he eats Mike.
Or
the long play.
Yeah, or there's some kind of something happens that.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I just think something might happen to turn Mike off from the other guy, Dave, whatever his name is.
Yeah. So my last question, and then we'll wrap it up till next week. Do you think, as we're like predicting things for these characters, do you think Mr. Grimm or Mayhem make it to season 3? I think that Mayhem is like your big. I think that Mayhem becomes more of a big bad than Raven is that they're setting up. And
Yeah.
kind of becomes the person that John and Quiet have to kill.
That's a very good question because Mayhem is based off of a bunch of different characters from the game series, but Grim he was a tentpole character from the games. My biasness is coming through because I really like I always played Grim. I really like the actor. I wish the actor had more screen time. Just something about the whole package of the actor outside of the helmet, I think is a really compelling character. I hope. I don't know.
Can I throw this out there?
Yeah.
Grim dies but comes back as the Grim Reaper type character.
Yeah.
More skeletal. Like, I think that there is a world with all the magic that they've built in this show. There's no reason why characters can't die and come back in some other weird fucked up form. And I feel like that's the normal, like that is a direction to go with Grim, where it's like this guy thinks he's the Grim Reaper from what we see, but then in death becomes the actual Grim Reaper.
That would be cool. And all this all this speculation and everything, we're still like, and I explained this to my dad when we were watching the show, but all these wishes that folks made are monkey paw. They're going to be monkey paw wishes.
Yep.
And I was looking at Quiet's wish was she wants all the walls to fall in all the cities all across America. That could be monkey pawed pretty wildly.
That could be a fucking earthquake that kills half the population or something.
Yeah. And then John wanting Krista back.
Evil
that could be
version. Like that's
something.
That's like the classic monkey paw story of someone monkey pawing their loved one back, and their person comes back, but they're rotted and terrible, and like it's not great.
I think a wish is gonna come early for somebody. Krista's coming back, but she's gonna be monkey pawed at some point.
Okay.
I really think because I feel like they wouldn't have made like the quote unquote like big deal about her passing for her not to come back in like a couple other episodes. But do we know if this show got renewed for a third season?
I don't know yet. And they might be holding those cards to their chest until the finale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm kind of curious to see what happens next. But Shane, as long as you're available next week at the same time, I think we can talk about episodes 8 and 9 next week. And if people have enjoyed your video game insights on this Twisted Metal live stream, there's another place where they can get all types of video game insights.
Yes. You can check me out on the gaming section on Daily Wire. Dynamic Resolution, a video game show, the #1 video game show on the Geekscape.network. We, Emil, Logan from Memory Card, and myself, we talked all about the Battlefield 6 beta this last fortnight. We post every 2 weeks, and we really talked about the Battlefield 6 beta. And when we record next, there's a lot of public controversy about cheaters going on in the upcoming beta, and a lot of Twitter drama that we'll talk about that is very fascinating. Very fascinating.
All right. Well, we'll be back with more of that next week. So subscribe to Geekscape TV, and we'll be back with another Twisted Metal Season 2 recap.